Mentor sentence activities allow students to practice using sentence length variation, sentence rhythm variation, and sentence beginning variation. To put it simply, students are asked to consider and use different phrases and clauses in their writing than they otherwise would on their own. Mentor sentences are chosen because they contain writing moves I want students to practice. They have pleasing use of figurative language, imagery, and/or devices that add to the sentence's appeal. I've designed digital mentor sentence drag and drops with 3 levels of difficulty. You can see them marked on the slide with a 1, 2, and 3. First, I want students to examine the mentor sentence in box number 1 to notice what writing moves the author is using, to identify them and break the sentence into its smaller components. What types of sentences are used? Simple, compound, complex, compound, complex? As you can see, in this mentor sentence, the writer begins with a simple sentence, then continues with a compound sentence. This compound sentence has a simile that interrupts and uses polysyndeton to string compound verbs together. I ask students what they notice about the sentence, give them the opportunity to talk about it with each other and with me, and we label the parts, discussing why the writer might have written the sentence in that way. Next, as students are familiar with the various parts of the mentor sentence or sentences in the first box, they move on to box number 2, where they drag and drop the pieces that are located to the right of the slide, as well as punctuation. Their goal is to unscramble these pieces so that they match the pattern of the mentor sentence or sentences in box number 1. Finally, in box number 3, students write their own imitation of the mentor sentence, making sure to use the same sentence types, phrases, and clauses, but substituting their own topics so that they're personalized. Mentor sentences help students to internalize different sentence types and writing moves. With time, these writing moves can be applied to students' own writing. Discussing mentor sentences also allows me to teach and review grammar concepts in a natural way. Let's take a look at box number 2 in action. The first sentence that we're imitating is "My heart didn't feel very open," so I'm going to come to the right and I'm going to look for parts of this imitation sentence that match the pattern of this sentence. And I'm going to first choose "My feet couldn't move" because that sounds to me like "my heart didn't feel." I'm looking for then something that sounds like "very open," so come down here and "very quickly" fits the bill. We're going to drag it right there, and we're going to put a period after. Moving on, I need something like "in fact, I think I'd stretched it." So come over here. "In fact, I knew I'd overdone it." "A little beyond capacity." What matches with that? "More than necessary." Then, because there is a comma after capacity, I'm going to put a comma after necessary. And that comma will come before the simile. So we have "like a hippo in a tutu," and also we're going to offset that with a comma after. That gives us 2 pieces remaining. So we notice that this one has the double "and" that will come at the end, like "and fracturing bones and getting generally grumpy." I'm going to drag this bit first and then have it lead into this last piece and end with the period. The final level of this activity is for students to come to box 3 and, taking what they have unscrambled and what they have thought about as far as the mentor sentences pattern, they are going to put themselves to the test to see if they can come up with their own sentences that match the patterns that they've been working with. So it can be about whatever topic they like, but it does need to use the same types of sentences, phrases, clauses as they were working with in boxes 1 and 2. So they come here and they would just type over the starter text. They might type something like "his watch wasn't accurate very often." In fact, he thought he'd broken it worse than ever before, like a windshield in a hailstorm. And after that, he was arriving. Oops. Late and missing appointments. What else would happen if you had an inaccurate watch? And getting scolded every day. So there you have it. We've done 3 different levels of this mentor sentence activity, and this is just one of the slides in a slideshow of 41 different mentor sentences that I've put together for my students. If you're interested in this activity, you can click on the link in the post and it will take you to where you can check it out in a little bit more detail. But as for now, I hope that I've inspired you to think about what you can do with mentor sentences in your classroom. It's definitely one of my favorite ways to be consistent with grammar and style in a way that is not just throwing another worksheet at students, because they've been there, done that, and this really does help over time to help them notice what other writers are doing. And not every writer is the same, so that they're exposed to different things that writers do as a part of their own style, so that they can kind of pick and choose what they would like to add into their own writing style toolbox. You don't necessarily even have to do this digitally. You can project a sentence up on a slide and use it as a ticket in the door. You can have students spot their own mentor sentences in the books that they're reading and bring them to the class for a conversation. And there's just so many different ways that you can go about this. So I hope that this has been helpful again, and I will catch you next time.